cannot happen as easily or as good when you're sitting home alone in your underwear with your laptop, alone, watching a film like that. It's still, I mean, it still gives you the information. You can laugh to yourself. You can tweet to somebody what you just saw in the movie. But you know what I'm saying. There's nothing like seeing it. And nothing has killed the movies. They said everything would kill them. Radio would kill the movies, didn't kill it. TV would kill the movies, didn't kill it. The VCR would kill the movies, didn't kill it. Video games would kill the movies, didn't kill them. Nothing is going to kill the movies because we, as human beings, are social animals. And we want to be with other human beings to experience life. To experience the essence of what it is we're about and what we're going through. And so the movies will never die. It isn't going to happen. The bookstores are not going to die.
Not absolutely.
The bookstores are not going to die. Because people want, first of all, they want to get out of the house. I mean, why do people go to restaurants to eat? Everybody has a kitchen. Why would you ever go to a restaurant when you can make that food at home? Or call it in. We go and we eat around people we don't even know. Why do we do that? We want to be around other people. That's why we love coming to the bookstore. That's why we like coming to St. Mark's. Right. There's just, right? There's something that you can't put a number on. You can't really quantify it. But you know it, don't you? You know it as a feeling. And you know why it feels good when you say, hey, let's go over to St. Mark's for an hour and just go through the shelves. And when you leave here with something, you ran across something you didn't know. Something that was, you had no idea. Wow. And you take that home and you read something, you learn something that you didn't know before. It's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, wonderful.
Or you pick up a piece of just something that's just mindless entertainment. And it just feels good to get your mind off all the crap of the day, of the week, of the month, and just go into the fantasy place.
Bingo.
Whether it's science fiction or romance or the Spencer novels or whatever, right? So that's why I believe that we don't have to be on the defensive here. I believe these bookstores are going to continue. Borders closing. They essentially got their comeuppance.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's not just because of the internet. It's because how can you compare this experience to a big box store? I mean, you can't. Maybe they did some things that were a good idea. Having coffee, having a place for people to sit, letting people read the book, sitting on a couch for as long as they wanted. Those were some good ideas. But I saw that as someone from Michigan when I was a teenager, because I went to Borders, but Borders was not a chain. Borders was the name of one store in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And it was a store like this. First it was small, and it was bigger, but it was just like this. I would drive from Flint, thank you. I would drive from Flint to Ann Arbor. I'd drive an hour just to go to a bookstore like this. That was the Borders I grew up with. That was the right idea. This is the right idea. So, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. There's a lot going on right now. I want to say just a couple closing words, and then there's time maybe to take a couple questions, and then we got to start the signing.
Your book is wonderful.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you. I'll start with that. I wrote a book.
Yeah.
Are you going to be appearing at Liberty Square again?
Well, yes. Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about Liberty Plaza in just a second. Or Plaza, as you say on the East Coast. It's Plaza. You stay at the Plaza. You go to Liberty Plaza. I wrote a book over the last year. It's called Here Comes Trouble. And I haven't figured out quite the right way to say this where it doesn't sound strange. but I'm so proud of this book. It's really the best damn thing I've ever written, and I poured a lot of myself into this book, and I wanted to tell stories that I've never told anyone before. These stories are all from before you knew me, before my first film was made. And I had a lot of very interesting, bizarre, thoughtful, unique experiences as a young person and while growing up, and as a young man in his 20s. And I had various encounters with historical people such as Bobby Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, John Lennon, and Mr. Abu Nidal, who was the Osama bin Laden of his time. And so I wrote about this. I wrote 24 short stories. I wrote them as short stories mainly because I love to read short stories. But I don't ever recall having read a book of nonfiction short stories. So I decided that why not? I'll write these as short stories, but they'll all be stories. Everything in here is true. So that's what I did. And there's 24 of them. And I'd really love for you to read them. If you're here to buy a book tonight, great. If you can't afford the book, you can get it at the library. You can pass the book around. I'm a big believer in sharing books. It's odd. I don't want to get into our whole copyright laws thing, but I think things should be shared. Art should be shared. I always thought should never have been a problem with sharing music. We did that when we were younger. If you remember when the cassette tape was first invented, you'd record the new Clash album. You'd never heard of the Clash before, and you'd pass that tape around to everybody. And you weren't breaking the law, were you? I don't think you were, but nobody cared because it only gave the Clash more people, a bigger fan base, and more people bought their albums. And the same with books. I mean, books, you can hand books to anybody. It's not illegal. And so I encourage you, maybe if you are able to buy a book, to share it with somebody in your family or someone in your neighborhood, at school, who can't afford a book. I'd really appreciate that. The final thing is just somebody brought up Liberty Plaza, formerly known as the Zuccotti Park. I've been over there now for a couple of nights. I'm going to go back over there after we're done here tonight because I'm going to donate my royalties, 100% of them, from whatever we sell here tonight, to the protests going on down here.
Wow.
So thank you for contributing to that, even though you didn't intend to. They're doing a great thing down there, and they're getting more and more support. Last night, the Transport Workers Union here in New York City, the bus drivers and subway drivers, voted unanimously, their executive board, to endorse the protest down on Wall Street. 2 days ago, 700 airline pilots, mostly from United and Continental, marched on Wall Street. I don't know if you saw that in the news. Yeah, I know. It's like
they've been trying to squelch
some of the coverage of this protest has been just showing a few hippies banging on drums.
Yeah,
the typical thing the press wants, which God bless the hippies banging the drums. I'm not knocking that, but there's a reason they like to focus on that. And when I've been down there, I'll tell you what I've seen. I've seen everybody.
Yeah.
I've seen young people. I've seen old people. I've seen people of all shapes and colors and creeds. I even saw Ron Paul people down there last night. I mean, it is a diverse group of people. There are nurses down there. There are teachers down there. There are all kinds of people down there. Now there's going to be bus drivers and subway conductors. And they're going to march next Tuesday on Wall Street and end up in the plaza. Wow. And I just heard that the UAW may be doing something. So now, this is like the worst nightmare come true. The hippies and the auto workers coming together. People have had it. People have had it. And all that divisive stuff about this or that or whatever, People don't care about that anymore because now it's about their kids may not be able to go to college.
Yeah.
They may have to move out of their house. This is the real deal. And it's so bizarre, so strange to me that the wealthy decided to overplay their hand like this.
Yeah.
They were doing so well.
Yeah, right.
Those of you who are my age or older, do you remember like when we were younger, when they were being taxed 70, 80, 90%? Can I just tell you what I saw back then? The people living in Grosse Pointe in Bloomfield Hills in Michigan, they were doing very well and seemed very happy. Am I right? Do you remember back during a time when people who lived up in Connecticut, during that time when they're paying those horrible taxes? I seem to remember people living in Connecticut doing very well and being actually quite happy about it. There's lots of photographs of the era. You can look them up. You can see them vacationing.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't enough though. For the new rich, it wasn't enough. The new rich got rich off money. Not off an idea that they had, not off an invention, not off their sweat and their labor. They got rich off other people's money that they decided to play with like they were in a casino. They decided to make money off money. We've raised a generation now of young people where what's held up as idols on the business news channels and on the internet are the people who've gotten rich off money, making money off money, making money off money, making money off money. And how that harms us as a society, because the things that we need,
We don't have.
transportation that's not going to bring our environment to a crushing halt and kill this planet. We need young people working on that. We need them working on how to find cures for these diseases. We need them figuring out ways to bring water and sanitation to billions who don't have it on this planet tonight. Those are the things we should be doing, and when you do that, I'm more than happy to reward you for doing that. But we've gone someplace else. We've gone to a very, very dark, dark place. So the good news is, as I close, is that the 400 wealthiest people in this country now have more wealth than 150 million Americans combined. That's not the good news part. That's a correct statistic, by the way. Backed up by Forbes magazine and an agency called PolitiFact, who, when I said it on the steps of the Wisconsin Capitol back in March, neither of them could believe it was just one of those another Michael Moore things. And so they, to their credit, did their own investigation and ran stories saying Michael Moore is telling the truth. 400 of the wealthiest Americans have more combined wealth than the combined wealth of 150 million Americans. That is not called a democracy. Democracy implies some sort of equality, some sort of egalitarianism. You know, I'm not saying that every piece of the pie has to be the same exact slice. But we are way beyond that, aren't we?
Yeah.
So the good news is that as long as we still have some threads of our democracy left, as long as that Constitution remains intact, it says that each one of us in this room have the same number of votes as everyone down on Wall Street. One per person.
Yeah.
And they can buy as many candidates as they want. But their hand is not on our hand in the voting booth. And when we can get that message out to so many millions who have given up, or who have been connived and deceived because of their own ignorance, if we can get that message out, that is the worst nightmare for the 400. Because there's one thing they know how to do, it's math. And there's a hell of a lot more of us than there are of them. So it's only about whatever morning that's going to happen where we wake up and we say, that's it, it's over, I'm getting involved and I'm getting 10 of my neighbors to get involved. You know, at that point, it's over for them. So that's our mission, everyone in this room, to get involved. Get involved. Support these protests. Okay, all right. I've got time for 2 questions.
I need your help.
All right, hang on. Yes, sir, the beard in the back.
What do you have to say to the mayor's statement today in the news where he says if we continue to vilify the banks, they won't give out money anymore.
Shoot the mayor!
No.
Move your
Nonviolence.
money to a community bank. Move your money.
To a credit union.
They will give you money. Move it to a community bank.
Lower East Side Credit Union.
Yes,
Yeah,
credit
yeah,
unions. We should all be putting our money in community banks or credit unions. That would be a very good idea. What they don't understand is that in a democracy, we can pass any damn law we want, as long as it doesn't violate the United States Constitution, right? So they should be very afraid of the fact that at some point, we're going to have elected officials who are going to say, you know, we're going to have to do what they did in Iceland. When they got greedy in Iceland, we had to nationalize the banks. Sorry. That's the way it goes. We did it to General Motors. Tell me why we can't do it to Bank of America.
That's right.
Somebody tell me that?
Right on.
You can do it to, you can come to Detroit and do it to General Motors. Why can't you do it to Bank of America? Yes, ma'am.
Cooper Union makes their money from the rent under the Chrysler building. That's why they can give free education. They should understand the rent for here and keep this kind of an institution too.
Do they own the Chrysler
They own the
They
Chrysler
own
building.
the land under it and they get it tax-free rent, and that tax-free
Okay.
goes towards their educating for free.
what she's
They
saying here-
understand this problem
Yes.
for this store.
Yes. Cooper Union owns the land that the Chrysler building sets on, and that's where they get a goodly chunk of their money.
And they have a lot of
And-
tax-exempt land in this neighborhood.
And,
And the Chrysler building is tax exempt.
right.
All of their land is tax exempt.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
What about NYU?
Because of your role,
I'll repeat the question. Just, yeah, go ahead.
because of your role in raising consciousness about social consciousness in general, you've become very central to a lot of people in keeping that role going. Would you consider a vegan diet not only to keep you on this planet for all of us, but also because racism, sexism, and speciesism are interlocking oppressions which just augment capitalist domination over all of us?
Did you hear that in the back? What she was saying is that she said that she's been to Michigan, and compared to most people in the Midwest, she's saying that she would call me Twiggy. I've been on about an 80 to 90% vegetarian diet since July 19th. So, that's what I eat now. But thank you, Mom, for looking at All right, one more, and then we've got to stop. Okay. All right, hang on. Someone way in the back that didn't get to ask a question back there? Yeah, that would be you. Go ahead. Shout it out.
Yes, Mr. Wall, would you please help us contact the Department of Health and Community Board to get a hospital to replace things?
Yeah, the hospitals are coming. I mean, hello. Take her.
Yes. Okay, everybody heard that. Since St. Vincent's closed, I live in Michigan, so I'm familiar enough with New York because I've lived here for many years. Where do people go with St. Vincent's closed?
Beth Israel.
Where's the nearest hospital?
Beth Israel.
Which is where?
Here,
Third.
3rd Avenue and
First
First Avenue 3rd?
23rd.
So what do you do if you live anywhere on the west side of Manhattan down there?
They go down 10th Street.
We had to go up to 59.
Wow. Okay. I own.
which could kill you.
All right. That woman back there is still. She's got like petitions or something in her hand. So please see her afterwards. That's a very important thing to.
I do too. Will you
And-
sign my petition?
Yes, I'll sign it. Yes. Okay. They're telling me we've got to get to the book signing.
Can I just ask you one question, please?
I can't do anymore. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, so I'm going to get through this as quickly as possible. So just bear with there is some kind of order here to this, I think.
The line.
Can I just give you
But I just want to thank you again
You gotta make a line. You gotta make
for
a
coming out tonight. Please tell your friends and neighbors to shop here at St. Mark's Bookstore and other independent bookstores. They are the backbone of defeating ignorance in this country. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I greatly appreciate it.
For president.
Yeah.